Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I want to talk about something in this Bible that I keep on reading. I keep on reading some stories. First time I hear it, second time, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and then sometimes you wait till like the 10th time you hear something that you take something in a little differently than what's going on the last time you heard it. A lot of times there's some like current events that go on that you read something, you're like, whoa, that's going on now. Like, what's happening with that? Should I be paying attention to that, or should I just ignore that, or what's going on? Because it's super fascinating how there's stories and ways and things that we've done that it's like we for whatever reason we want to like go back to the things that we used to do. I don't understand it anymore in my life today. But there's the stuff that we've gotten through it. We realized it was a tragedy. We realized it was no good for us. But yet we just like go right back to the same exact scenario, same exact situation over and over and over again. And especially if you don't know the information, if you don't know what used to happen, you're going to be so much more easier to go back to it again. And it's something that I want to read in the book of the First Samuel, which is both of those are very interesting books to give you a lot of insight of things that are going on with us as human beings and stuff that we do and stuff that we still do today. And I'm going to say that with majority of pretty much every single story, history thing, anything you want to look at with the way the Bible is written, the way the Bible is said, that there's so much of it that's going on then that's going on now. And a lot of times it doesn't get revealed to you because you're kind of in a situation of it doesn't quite relate. But this story here relates 100%, I personally see, with what's going on today, with this new push of where it is the people are asking and begging and pleading that we want this. And in reality, we want more of a rulership. We want more of a king. And here is we want a king. We want a king to be able to rule us. And then Samuel has to say to them like, hey guys, no you don't. You don't want that. You want to do this and figure this out on your own and have God as your king. You do not want to have someone above you ruling you like everyone else out there has. Stop trying to act like and be like and do like what everyone does and do you and be you. Be unique. Realize that you have it good right now with no rulership, a human ruler above you standing right here. That you're only just living by the commands and living by the laws and living by the decrees of God. That you don't need a second person in between that. You just need you, God, and living by that, and you're going to live a very nice, very blessed life. But the people are just like, no, we don't want that. We want something. We want what everyone else has. So here in the First Samuel, or the 8th chapter, I'm just going to read this whole chapter because there's something that goes on here that is very interesting because in the end of this book, I think it's in the first, I don't want to say it, but it talks about the concept of what it takes to be a pastor, what it takes to be an elder, what it takes to be a minister, what it takes to be any of that. And it has like guidelines. But in my research so far, 100% of all the prophets and all of these people have failed these guidelines to be a proper preacher is composed in what's looking at later on in this life. So it almost makes me think like, who is actually entitled to be able to do such a thing? Because it's an impossible test based on what we do as human beings and what one of the rules is here that gets broken and the reasoning why the people are looking for a king. But when Samuel grew old, he appointed his first sons as Israel's leaders. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his secondborn was Abiah. And they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not follow his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain and accepted bribes and perverted justice. So all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, "You are old, your sons do not follow your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have." But when they said this, give us a king to lead us, this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, "Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not that they have rejected, it is not that they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. As they have done from a day I brought them out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods. So they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly and let them know what the king who will reign over them will claim as his rights." Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "This is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his rights. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of fifties, and others to plow his ground and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cookers and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and turn them to his intendants. He will take a tenth of your grain of your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants, your male and female servants, and the best of your cattle and donkeys he will take for his own use. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you on that day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us. Then it will be like all other nations, and the king to lead us and go out before us to fight our battles. When Samuel heard all that the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. The Lord answered, listen to them, give them a king. Then Samuel said to the Israelites, everyone, go back to your own town. It's so interesting because Samuel's saying to him, you don't want no king. And then Samuel lays out everything God says. God says, you want a king? This is what's going to happen to your people. Your people are no longer going to be free. Your people are all going to be slaves. You're going to have to give me portions of your income. All your land is going to be mine. All your women are going to be mine. They're going to be doing what I tell them to do. They wanted to go work the fields? No. They're perfumers, they're cookers, they're bakers. That's all that they can do. The men are all going to be in my army. The other men are all going to be able to creating all of my army tools and guns and weapons and everything. And then the other part of them are all going to be running and being in my army. And then the other part of them are going to be the front lines of the army that are just for disposable use. He's putting all of this stuff saying, this is what's going to happen if you get a king. He's going to take everything from you, start to force you, dictate you, tell you where to go, tell you what to do, tell you how to live, and tell you how to be. All because you want a king. And in the end, the people say, sign me up for that deal. Sign me up for that. That sounds like a pretty good idea because we want to be just like everybody else. So sign us up for that deal. That's a really good deal. How wild is that? How crazy is that we as people will come up collectively and say something like that? And that's what I see going on today. The same exact thing is going on here, and it's starting, it's been in other countries, but it's starting here in the United States of America. That it's not really starting here. It's done in others, but United States of America is a little bit different with what it is that we do here. But yet we are all trying to sign up for this new thing called socialism going on in our country right now. We're like, we want this, and we want this, and we want this. To be able to get certain things, you're going to end up putting yourself in a situation that you're going to be under a dictator that now, since you want, say, let's just go all deep. You want the free medical, you want the time off, you want these things, and it's going to come with extreme consequences. Because when you used to be free to be able to go and do and as you please, and used to have different rights. You had rights to, employers couldn't do this to you, couldn't do that to you. You're going to start losing all of that. All of those rights, all of that freedom, everything that you used to really, really enjoy is all going to go away because you want something that shouldn't be there. You want something we should be staying far and far away from. You want something that is going to be a disaster to you. And then you say, you know what, other people have it and other people seem like they're doing all right with it. Let's sign up for that. Let's do that. Even though you want your time off, your guaranteed time off. Now you're no longer a 40-hour work week. Now we just bumped to a 65-hour work week. That's mandatory. And if you don't do that, you're fired. And if you're fired and you don't have no work, you're not doing this, then you're in prison type situation. And you're never going to be able to get, never going to be able to have, never going to be able to do. You wanted that paid time off and they gave it to you, and now before you take that time off, you got to work an 80-hour week to make up for what's going on here. Now you want that free medical care. Now all the grade A doctors that used to take care of you, that used to want to take care of you, they no longer will, because now it's based on everyone gets the same. When everyone gets the same, the good ones are going to leave. Now that free medical you get is actually worthless because it's not going to be of any value to you. It's going to be the most worst grade D, grade F, grade E, flunking type service that you're going to get because you're not going to have the best of the best, and people aren't going to thrive and strive to try to be a medical professional anymore because they're not going to get paid for it. They're not going to get any income for it. They're not going to get any satisfaction for it. They're not going to get anything for it because everyone is guaranteed to it. So when you're guaranteed to some things, just expect that we go to the doctor now and you got a nice room and they give you some nice things and everything is nice to go and you got clean medical supplies to be able to use. All that's going to go away. It's just going to go completely away. I don't think that people are really like thinking far ahead, because we've already done this, we've already been a part of this, we've already been in this, but yet we just want to keep on going back to the same old things again. And what happens when we do the same old thing again? We're going to end up in the same old situation 10 times worse, because we've already done it and we're going to keep going further and further and further away from what it is that we should be doing. And it's something that's very interesting, because I see what someone's argument is when they say, hey, we want this and we should have this. And we should be entitled to this and we should be able to have that regardless of what. Just for being alive, we should be able to have certain things. I understand this. I understand that. But you also have to make sure and realize that there's a balance that goes on in this planet, that goes on in this world, that goes on in this life. That you can't just take from those to give to those without reimbursing and giving back to those. And what you're trying to do, which is mind-blowing to me today, is you're trying to take from the most wealthiest people that are actually providing all of the jobs, all of the work, the wealthiest people that are actually providing all of the security and all of the safety, the wealthiest people in the world that are actually creating and maintaining and running this entire world right now, and you want to take from them so that the ones that don't have. That's a backwards system. Because that means that the ones that are creating all the work, that are creating all the safety, that are creating everything out there, all the laws, the rules, the everything that we need to live by, and making sure that there's a balance and it's maintained, you want to take from all of them so that they run off and go away and go do something different, and or use the system to their mass level of manipulation and start to enslave you more and more. That, like I said, you used to have a 40-hour week. The new laws are going to be 65 to 80. You thought that, oh, that would have been a good idea. You thought that the minimum wage, this is something that is a sticky topic in this nation. That I know that the minimum wage, it shouldn't be there, but it is there. And then someone would say, oh, we're going to take it away. So the employers can say, the guys that are doing it all and the girls that are doing it all, making it all, having it all, pushing it all, they say, okay, we're going to take the minimum wage away. Some people are going to, woohoo, that's awesome, that's great. But now we have jobs that are 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour, and you have to take it and you don't have no choice to take it. Now, where you used to be getting a $24 to $28 an hour job, now it's a $5, $3 an hour job. And because they took the minimum away, so now we can make it what we want it to be. And then they can also still keep the prices of what they want to keep up high, making sure that only a few are able to have what it is they have so that they can still continue to keep on making the same money that they've been making. It's something that is just mind-blowing to me, that we live in a society today where we want to try to take from the ones that are doing all of the work. You want to take from the ones that are actually supplying all of it, everything. They create the work that you're able to go to. They create the buildings for you to be able to go and be able to work in a nice, safe, healthy environment. They create all the cars to make sure that we're nice and safe out here. There's like 50 airbags in every car now to make sure that we're all safe, that everything is good to go, that everything is comfortable. They build these buildings for you to be able to have AC in when it's hot out and heat in when it's cold out, and they do all this stuff for you, which costs money. And then when you want to try to take from them and then try to put in something different, now you're going to run into a situation that they're no longer going to care about any of that. They're no longer going to worry about, oh, the AC bill, we're not going to put that electric bill going anymore. We're going to go ahead and shut that down and shut that off right now. We're going to go ahead and not worry about these cars being safe. We don't care about the safety of the human anymore. We care more about making sure that we can keep our profits to be the same. You're going to run into a situation that things are just not going to be as blessed, as nice, as great as you really want it to be. And you're going to find out real fast that you enslaved yourself way more than where it is that you started. And when we do that as a people, we're going to run into a horrible situation. Because it even says there that God even states that he's like, you're going to cry out for some help. You're going to cry out for some assistance, but I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to be there because you chose to take that as opposed to taking me. You chose to push with that as opposed to trying to make sure that you can stay with me. And that's something that is very, very tragic. And it's so tragic to the point that we should make sure 100% fact that we should stay away from that and seek upon God as being our king, God being our ruler, God being our way of being able to have our safety and our freedom and our rights and our ways. Because the more and more that we have that, the more and more we're not going to have these other people that are going to keep on trying to push us down and push us down and push us down. And it's such a fascinating thing because what goes on this planet, people keep on thinking like that people did it to me, those people did it to me, those people did it to me, when in reality it's none of that. It's God who was doing that to you. God did that. God put those people there to do a certain thing and do a certain task. And then if they don't do that task, then they get in trouble for it. And that's what goes down a lot in in the book of Samuel, in the book of First Kings and Second Kings. It's one, people weren't doing right. So then God had to bring in another people to basically get them to start doing right. But if they didn't do right, it just kept going. It just kept going and going and going and going and going. It's not like he brought in a group of people just to be ruthless and to be mean to. No, he brought in a group of people to teach a lesson, to get away from what it is that you're doing, to get back onto what does matter and what you should start paying attention to. And that's something that we should all be paying very close attention to, these old things and these ways that we used to be, to not fall and stumble into doing that same stuff again. We fall into the same stuff because we just, for one, don't know. And if we don't know, we're going to do it. And two, we do know, and we think that we're better today. We know more today. Ask that about your own self yesterday with something that you said you didn't want to do, that you're still doing, that you said you were never going to go back to, and realize that it actually wasn't as good as you thought it was. That it's just destroyed you even more. We do that all the time already as people. You decide, you know what, classic scenario, something that I heard. A guy that was working with me before. He'd go to a restaurant and eat some food and get his stomach upset. And just like, it would just get him to the point that he can't work. He got to stay at home and he got to figure this out and he got to clean himself out. And then a week later, let's go back to that same place and get that same thing again. And you know what happened? It messed his stomach up again the exact same way, same scenario, same thing, but this time he's got to be out for a couple of days to a week, because the first time it wasn't so cleared up still. And then you still went back and introduced it again. So I don't know why it is that we do such a thing, but it's just, I know for a fact today of how I look at some stuff that I would do the same thing. I'll go to the Papa Murphy's and get me a pizza, and the pizza would just give me a sharp pain in my stomach. I don't know what it is. And then I would like go back, maybe it was just that one time. And about 8 times later, you got to kind of realize, like, yeah, I'm smarter than this now. Let me just not do that at all anymore. Let me just stay the heck away from that completely. That it's something in it that just doesn't work for me. It's something in it that's not going to be able to benefit me. It just keeps hurting me. It keeps stabbing me. It keeps destroying. It keeps slowing me down. It keeps hindering me. It keeps just putting me in a worse off scenario every single time. You gotta get smart enough to realize, I'm not gonna go back to that anymore. I'm not gonna go do that anymore. I'm not gonna mess around with that anymore, and move on to do something different. And that different might be something that we don't know, but we're unsure, but that different is not gonna put us into a bad case scenario like we used to be in, times 10. All that's gonna happen is, if we wanna keep on pushing this, everyone should have be entitled to this, and this. We should all have time and vacation and medical and all these things. You're going to run into a situation that you're going to hate it, and hate it really, really fast, because you're going to end up losing things that you didn't even expect, you didn't even anticipate. You're like, yeah, I want that, but you're going to end up losing so much of your life that you're going to say, I don't know if that was a good trade-off, because that's what happened to these guys later on. They're like, man, this is hard. This we no longer have any freedom. We're no longer able to just go and do. But now we got someone that's a leader for us. But what did that actually give us in the end? Other than just a person being able to stand there and being able to dictate to us and tell us where to go and what to do. And that's something that's going to happen to us if we want to stay this route. That I don't know. My lifetime, it may not happen, but it may happen in the later years of my lifetime that I'll see something like this shift and change. Because you got to get to the younger generation, and I see it happening today. Anybody under the age of 30 today, for me, majority, it's really hard for me to talk to, because our values, our ways of seeing the world, everything is just so wildly different. It's so wildly different. Like, I don't know how we're on the same world together and looking at everything the same and being a part of the same, because what it is that you're looking for and what it is that I'm looking for are like nowhere near on the same page. And it's very interesting that what majority of younger people are looking for is more dictators, more rulership, more Oreo. And more people telling you what to do or where to go and how to do it. More of that. And I'm more of like, no, let's get all that out of there. Let's get government pressure off of us. Let's let them go do what they do and stop telling us what to do, where to go, how to be, and how to do everything in our life. Let them get out of it so that we can create more on our own to figure out how to be able to move on this world. But we got an interesting shift going on today that the majority of people are, I want the government to do more for me. They need to do more for me. They need to do more. They need to stand up. They need to be able to act, advocate for me. They need to be able to be there more for me. And that's such a non-right, correct way of going, to be able to live a free life on this planet. You're only going to enslave yourself more and more to the point that it's going to be super, super devastating and going back to things that we've already done. And stuff that we've already done is stuff that's already been written for us to be able to understand who we are and what we are that's in this Bible. And what's in this Bible is very, very interesting because it just knows us. It knows everything about us. It knows everything that we've done, and it knows what we're about to do. It knows who we are as a people. And it tells us and explains in great detail when you decide to go that route, what's going to happen. And that's what's scary about it, because reading this and then continue on reading, it lets you know what's going to happen when they decide that we want this king. It's just like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if that's the route that you really want to be able to go, because what happens next is not the glory and the peace and the fun and the hangouts is none of that. It's tragic. It's devastating. And when we already have that already seen and already written and already out there for us to be able to learn from, why would we want to go and do it again, thinking that, oh yeah, we're smarter now than they were, so we're going to make it better. No, we're smarter now so that the ones that actually do, the king that you do put in is actually going to be able to do things more ruthless, way more ruthless, that you didn't even anticipate. You want time off, but it's going to end up costing you more of your time throughout the day, that you're no longer going to have time to do anything, that you're no longer going to have the freedom to even care, to even want to do anything, that you're going to be praying on that vacation that that's one thing I can't say, how we can populate, because that's one thing that happened when they were enslaved in Egypt, having to work. And it was stated, the more pressure that they put upon them to make them work more and more and more, the more children they kept on having. Because that's one way that you're going to only be able to get time off. You want your 3 months guaranteed time off, and you want the government to be able to mandate that, then you're going to end up working so hard that the only time that you get off is maternity leave. So then you're going to want to stay pregnant as absolute much as possible, because otherwise you're going to be working 80 hours a week trying to just keep up, trying to even be able to just do anything. And your only time off is going to be maternity leave off. Is that something that sounds good, sounds great, that you're just going to have baby after baby after baby just so that you can have some time, some relaxation to yourself, to just be able to have a little bit of peace without having to be enslaved by someone that's telling you what to do and where to go? So it's very interesting that the more pressure that's put upon the people to make them work more, the more that they started populating, because that's just, there's no other way around that. That you don't have time to do anything else. You don't have time to even think. You don't have time to even breathe. You don't have time to even eat. So you're going to do anything and everything in your power to get yourself to get that time off. And then you're going to start figuring out how to be able to get through the loopholes of that. And then the employers are going to do what? Put more and more and more pressure on you, more and more pressure. And that's exactly what happened to the Egyptians, that they said, oh, y'all just lazy. So they put more pressure on. They used to give them stuff to be able to do their work. They said, no, y'all go find it yourselves and still come up with the same amount. They put more and more and more pressure, the more that these people got, say, lazy, because they couldn't keep up with the demand. And that's something that we should be paying attention to, what's going on in this Bible, to get a good understanding of where it is that we want to go in the future with what it is that we want to do. Realizing that having somebody take more rulership and more control of our lives is not going to be a better thing at all. You do not want no government telling you or telling the employers what it is that they should be and shouldn't be doing with their employees. It should be you to say, I'm not going to work for that employer because I don't like what their practices are. And then if everyone just quits from that employer, then employer is going to have to change some stuff to be able to stay in business, to be able to keep on making its money. But if it decides that it wants to keep the employees, it's going to upgrade and be able to offer these amazing things that you were looking for, this amazing stuff that you want. But if we're expecting that the government come in and do that and force that upon the employers, just watch. The employers are going to take extreme advantage of that, unfortunately, because it just is what it is. And that's the way that this world is made and created, and it's always going to be that way. That there's somebody that is creating the work, and there's somebody that's doing the work. You do not want to put pressure on the people that are creating the work, because otherwise the people that are doing the work are the only ones that are going to feel it. The ones that are creating it, they're not going to feel the pressure at all. They're going to make it benefit themselves in such a fantastic way that it's just going to blow your mind, and how they're able to just smoothly still keep getting around with all this. And then you're going to ask for what? We want more government pressure. We need to regulate them and regulate this and do that, and that's going to make it 10 times worse. That's what happens over and over and over in this Bible. That's exactly what happens. That they did what they did to put the pressure, and you're like, oh no, we need this, and then they put more pressure, and then more pressure, and then more pressure, to the point that it's unbearable. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to be about that. We want to go and be able to do what it is that we need to do on our own, without thinking that we need some government system to try to control us, to tell us what to do and where to go and how to be. We want that to be a minimum, an absolute minimum. Get that completely out in reality, and make it do exactly what it was supposed to do when it was first created. That it's not doing what it was created for today. It's doing way too much. Way too much. It's got its hands in way too much today. It never used to be such a way. And that happens because we have a group of people that want to stand up and protest to say, we need more of this and we need more of that, without going to the employer and saying, you know what, I don't agree with Amazon's practices. I don't agree with Walmart's practices. I quit. And everyone quits. Walmart will go out of business in 15 minutes if everyone that worked there just quit. All the drivers, all the suppliers, all the stockers, all the cashiers, all everything, all the maintenance people just quit, just walked away. That business would be out of business in 15 minutes. And they would be begging, pleading, and crying, how can we get employees to come back in here again? And then the whole world just boycotts them, says we're not working and we're not going there anymore. They would be out of business in one day, 15 minutes, I'm telling you. And then they will have no choice but to create new ways, new rules, new this, new that, come up with all their paid vacation, come up with all their medical stuff. They'll have to come up with a whole new script to be able to allow people to come and work there again. And then if they don't do it, everybody just quit. The business wants to keep on going. And if we as the people, the ones that are making that business go, decide that we don't want to be a part of that business is going to fold instantly. And then it puts it in the people's rights to be able to get what is it they're demanding. It's not for the government to come in and tell Walmart, you need to raise the minimum wage to $15 so that more people will make more money. No, all that's going to do is Walmart's going to say, well, we used to hire 4 people for that position. Now we're only going to hire 2. So now we're just cutting and things aren't going good. Oh, we need mandate medical stuff. So now the insurance premiums are so high that you can't afford it. You can't afford it. For a single person, $1,000 a month. They'll pay for half of it. So I think it's actually like $1,700 a month. And you got to pay for half of it. Is that feasible, working a job, working 32 hours at Walmart, making $15, $16, $17, $18 an hour? No, you can't pay that. So then you still don't be able to get it. But you demand it that you want it that. But they made it so that it's so complicated that you're never going to be able to even still have it. And even when you do have it, the copay is so high. The deductibles are so high that you never even use it. You need to spend $15,000 before you even are able to use it. That's worthless, pointless insurance at that point, unless you got into something extremely dangerous. But still, how many people working a job like that have $15,000 in cash saved up for if something were like that, something drastic were happening, you had to end up in the hospital, and being in the hospital to the point that you're no longer able to work to be able to keep on making income. What we're asking for is dangerous when we want the government to take more control. What we need to do is be a people and say we need to collectively get together and have a good understanding of what it is that we're looking for to be able to get what it is that we want. And I don't know what it is, but the more and more, and every single time that I keep on reading and rereading certain stories in this Bible, it saddens me, because it's like, why do we want to keep doing the same thing again? And it already tells us the outcome. It's so confusing to me. It's so confusing and it's so sad in a way at the same time, because we want to get out of the slavery, and then all of a sudden all we try to do is to get right back into it again. It's like, it's just devastating. It really is devastating to me. And I think that it's that way because we as a people don't have a very good, clear understanding of exactly what it is that we've already been through and what it is that we've done. And we're trying to go back into it because we think it's new. Someone would say today, like, oh, socialism is new. And it's like, no, it's not. Read your Bible. It's been around since the beginning of time. Something that we've been doing and been playing with, that God has been saying over and over. You don't want that. You want God as me being the ruler of this planet. You do not want a human being. And he says that over and over and over again, but the people keep putting pressure and say, no, we need this and we need this, we need this, and we can't stand this and do this, and God's never enough. He's never enough. He's never enough to be able to make you satisfied. He's never enough to be able to make you complete. He's never enough to be able to make you whole. He's never enough. And we as people are always, we need something here and something this to be able to save us and be able to help us. And God's just, he's so patient. And he's so patient to the point that he's still moving and doing what he's doing right now, but who knows when that could just change. His patience may just change and flip up and just go to putting into action what he was going to put into action, what he's already said he's going to put into action. It just happens because he's just like, you people are just messing up. And in an instant, it's out of here and it's gone. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. And I don't want that. And I want to be able to do anything and everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. And with that, I just want to say thank you for a very interesting day, to be able to continue to keep on reading and continue to keep on going to new places and continue to keep on doing different things. That sometimes I run into the routine of kind of going to the same and doing the same. But then I really come to realize that even if I go to the same place every single day, like living out here, for instance, I find something new every single day. Every single day, there's something new going on. Every single day, there's something different going on. Every single day, there's something just a huge change. And it's really cool to be able to be around and be able to see. And I don't think that you're able to see that when you're living like in a small box, in a small area, in a dedicated location that just has a whole bunch of concrete all around. Yeah, Oreo, let's get down. You got all excited all for your own self. You don't get to see a lot of those changes, especially when you remove yourself from a lot of trees and a lot of water. Something that I really am able to see is like the differences in the water level. The hotter and hotter it was getting for a little bit, it's like you go watch the water just go down and down and down. And then it rains and you watch it come right back up again. It's super fascinating to be able to see like each day is so different, even though you're in the same place doing the same stuff. And it's really interesting. It's so interesting that I would want more people to just get out and be able to just explore this world a little bit more and be able to see the beauty of it. It is actually absolutely amazing out here. It is just it's so neat. It's so awesome. And the way to really be able to start to get closer to God and start to really be able to ask some good questions is by getting in what it is that He created. You know, I understand He created human beings, but if you're just sitting and watching people all day, you're not really getting the full picture of what it is that God was able to do. That there's so much out here and it all is working together and doing what it needs to do together, and it's an absolutely amazing thing. And it's an amazing thing to be able to just bring a sense of peace to you, to realize and see like how neat this is out here, how neat it is. It's something to really appreciate being able to have. And the majority of all of this is free. It's free. It's free entertainment to be able to be out here and do this. It's free entertainment to me to watch these chickens and see what they do and how they act. I don't know what it is, but they act so much like humans. It's creepy in a way. How they do and what they do and how they function and how they fight and how they bicker and how they take control of each other. It's such an interesting thing, and it's something that you get to experience when you just get out and watch it and you just start paying close attention to it. Thank you.